This is such an exciting time for us, and we are just thrilled to be able to share it with all of you. In the 60 years since the training program began, Merola has trained more than 1,200 opera artists. It has grown from a program of 4 weeks and 14 singers to a program of 12 weeks and 23 singers, plus 5 apprentice coaches, plus 1 apprentice stage director. Every year we receive up to 1,000 applications for these coveted spaces, 29 only. And in our upcoming summer festival season, we will welcome opera artists from 14 different states in the U.S. and artists also from all over the world, including Canada, China, Colombia, Mexico, and Poland. Merola pays round-trip expenses for all its participants, and it also pays for all the other expenses during the summer. The Merola Opera Program is unique among young artist training programs in 2 important ways. First of all, we actively recruit those voices for the Schwab Summer Concert which don't comfortably fit in the usual young artist training fare of Handel, Mozart, Rossini, etc. For this season's program, the Opera Center chooses at least 3 different types of young, talented singers. First, those who may not yet quite have found their voice type. Secondly, those with dramatic voices which fit very well in heavier rep than they should be singing at a young age. And third, those who are simply blessed with such extreme raw talent that they can't be overlooked. The other way in which Merola is unique is in its Career Grants program. This program is intended to help all Merola participants, otherwise known as Merolini, to pursue opera careers which they would otherwise not be able to afford. At a time when they sorely need financial help, it funds activities which will further their opera careers. It awards career grants of up to $12,000 per participant for a period of 5 years after the applicant has left the Merola program. Thank you all for listening, ladies and gentlemen, and I'd like to introduce now the president of our Merola board, Carmen Claus, who will tell you a little bit about our exciting 60th anniversary gala.
Thank you, Jane. Good morning, welcome, and thank you so much for being here. Merola will begin its 60th anniversary summer festival on June 11, 2017, with a benefit gala and alumni concert. The anniversary gala will begin with the 2017 Merola artists, that is those Merolini coming this summer for the training program, joining guests for cocktails and dinner under the rotunda of San Francisco City Hall. And after dinner, gala guests will attend a once-in-a-lifetime concert with an all-star lineup of Merola alumni in the British Theater. The Merola alums who will be performing include Deborah Voigt, Julie Adams, Kristen Clayton, Tracy Dahl, Catherine Cook, Zonda Sveda, Dolores Hajic, Ene Pati, Issachai Savage, Quinn Kelsey, Boyan Knizovich, John Churchwell, Mark Morash, and other special Merolini alumni. And current Adler Fellows will also be part of the concert. Following the concert, gala guests will attend an after-party with a dessert buffet and dancing in the Memorial Green Room. Tickets will also be available for the concert alone. This concert is being generously underwritten by Mrs. Barbara Jackson. This will be a truly special evening and a great way to kick off our 60th anniversary summer. And in that regard, we have a very exciting summer festival season coming up. And to tell you all about it, I'd like to introduce the director of the San Francisco Opera Center, Sherry Greenwald. Along with Director of Musical Studies, Mark Rash, Sherry provides artistic direction for all aspects of the Merola Summer Program, including auditioning and selecting the artists who participate in the program, choosing the repertoire that is that is performed, and the conductors, directors, and other members of the production team, selecting our extraordinary master teachers and other faculty, among many other responsibilities. So take it away, Sherry.
As I told Tracy Grant, my favorite form of literature is a poem. It's very succinct, very direct, and that's why I love one-act operas. And therefore, that is why we are doing a triple bill. We start with Silva Padrona, which was perhaps the first opera ever written, and from 1733. So, and then we skip forward in time to Gustav Holst and Savitri, which is almost like a dream. Savitri is like living in a dream. And that was written in 1916, so we've left a couple of hundred years here. But then we go to William Walton. I feel like I'm reading the mic too much. William Walton's The Bear, which I have produced before, which I think is just one of the most charming little pieces and has some of my favorite little melodies that I always remember about women, women, women. So I like this opera. It was premiered in 1967. So I really look forward to those, and it provides a lot of really sort of cameo roles for the Merolini, because there are only basically two characters in every one of these operas. So it gives them a strong character push. Then the Summer Schwabacher concert will be exciting as usual, we hope. We're going to have a little Freischütz, and we'll have some, Mark, what are we doing again? Lucrezia Borgia. So we're going to have a little more interest with some, Mr. Donizetti. And we're doing some Susanna, from Carlisle Floyd's Susanna. And the Ballad of Baby Doe. We have a Baby Doe that we are desperate to cameo, and a Tabor as well. So and an Augusta, actually. So we're looking forward to those excerpts. Then we will go on to Cenerentola, which we've been producing it sort of every 10 years. So 20 years ago, it was Joyce DiDonato. 10 years ago, it was Daniela Mack, who's gone on to quite a lot of success and fame. And so this year, took us until New York in the audition process, but finally Samantha Hankey showed up, and Samantha's a student at Juilliard, and she's going to the semifinals along with two of my Adlers, I might point out. I'm pretty proud of our success rate there. And so Samantha Hankey showed up just like Daniela Mack had showed up in New York City on one of the last days of auditions. And so I think we have a real dynamite singer for the Cenerentola. And we found the tenor in New York as well, but he's from Florida. I was looking for a more Italianate voice for the role. And I think we found somebody that has nice juice in the sound, but a wonderful ringing top as well. So I'm really looking forward to the Cenerentola. And then, of course, we have none other than Will Crutchfield's daughter coming this summer to be the assistant stage director for everything. And then she will, of course, do the grand finale. And so I think Miss Crutchfield, the Victoria, is a very interesting lady too, like her father. And so I think we're going to have a fun summer with her. So that's my story. And now I'd like to introduce Ms. Jean Kellogg, the Executive Director of Merola.
support Merola's first opera commission. The motivation behind this decision was due to a dearth of chamber opera works that featured numerous solo roles, a smaller orchestra, and small chorus. The commissioned opera will provide the Merolini an opportunity to work with both a living composer and librettist, as well as the experience of creating a role for the very first time. The commission not only benefits the Merolini, but the opera world at large, especially regional companies and conservatories who are in need of high-quality chamber operas that are affordable to produce. We are proud and thrilled to formally announce that we have contracted two of the most prominent and successful opera creators in the world today, composer Jake Heggie and librettist Gene Scheer, to write an opera for the 2019 Merola season. Together, they have created the operas Moby Dick, Out of Darkness, 3 Decembers, To Hell and Back, and most recently, It's a Wonderful Life, that will be coming to San Francisco soon. The opera they will create for Merola, entitled If I Were You, is based upon the novel by the French-American writer Julian Green. Its Faustian tale is universal, the desire to become someone other than yourself. Who hasn't fantasized about becoming someone else? Or many others, whenever the desire strikes. And what are the consequences? As the central characters inhabit different bodies, the story deals with the issues of age, power, sexual politics, and gender identity. They're at once timeless and very much part of the contemporary zeitgeist. In addition to having Jake and Gene with us today, we are delighted to have two of our lead donors for the commission with us as well. Barbara Bruiser-Clark and Scott Lord, who came up from Los Angeles to be with us today. Welcome and thank you. And now, Kip Crenna, our wonderful dramaturg for this venture, will lead a discussion with Jake, Gene, and Sherry about the story of the opera, what inspired them to create an opera based on If I Were You, and the reasons for wanting to collaborate with Merola. Please join us up here. Thank you.
How does that sound? Is that better from that? Closer up is better? That's usually the case. All right. Thank you all for being here. Full disclosure, this is not the first time I've interviewed any of these people. Jake especially, I think, for the last 18 years, we've been talking, going back to the...
We got history.
The dim walking era. Getting ready for this discussion, I was thinking about the fact that anyone who's ever gotten an email from Jake knows that at the bottom there's a little tagline. It's a quote from Oscar Wilde. It says, "Be yourself. Everyone else is taken." And that is very much a thought to keep in mind during the course of this whole discussion. Let me start with Gene, though. As the Italians say, prima la parola, the words come first. So where did this idea come from, to use Julian Green's novel? In the French, it's Si j'étais vous, If I Were You.
Well, actually, Jake brought the book to my attention, and I guess he can describe how he came to it and his excitement about it. But after reading it, I could see why he was so thrilled about it. It is about identity, and Jake can, of course, speak to how he came to the book. But it is about identity, and it's, I think, more than anything, that's something that is woven through all the works that Jake and I have done. It's an issue that I think permeates all of our work, and in this case, it's first and foremost what the story is about. And we can certainly talk about it. Jay, why don't you explain how you came to it?
Well, first of all, it is really thrilling to be here with you all today, and writing something for Merola is so exciting. It's something I've dreamed of doing ever since I was in the press office many years ago. You said first the words, but actually before music or words, it's a story. the well of the story, the event, the characters, their journey is inspiring and rich. It can inspire beautiful words and it can inspire beautiful music. But first, that well has to be there. And it wasn't even necessarily the story that Julian Green told or the way he told it. It was the idea of what he was getting at that really inspired me. And the story was brought to my attention by a wonderful friend and writer about 10 years ago. It's been out of print since the 40s or 50s. I mean, it's impossible to get right. It was written post World War II, just after, and but it's a real adventure story, and it's a quest for your place in the world through your own eyes, through the eyes of others. And I think that's something that everyone can relate to. And like Gene said, it is something that's central to the works that we have done. It's an intimate story with larger forces at work, which is what you yearn for in opera. It has a sense of the epic and the mythical and an adventure. It has big emotional transformation and transitions. And as Gene has said to me, what inspired him right away is that music seems like the right solution in terms of telling the story. It demands music to be told.
To me, that was the central thing. It was so exciting. But I could see ways in which, there's this transformative journey that this character takes, this young lost man, and as he's given the power to inhabit, to breathe his soul into other people, basically have one character who's woven through 6 different voices, 6 different people. So it seems like such a beautiful way for music to tell the story. It's obviously character can be more typically linked as he's woven through. And what is he forgetting about who he was? What is he dreaming of being in the future? It's something that invites music in order to tell the story. It's a very, as Jake said, it's a really emotional. It's an emotional story, but it's one which there are a lot of emotional stories that are not best suited for an operatic telling. The thing that appealed to me immediately about this was I could see the accents that this story had because it was such an operatically, there's so much operatic potential in it. There are other challenges that arose, which I'm sure we'll discuss. But at the core of it was music, and that's what we want an opera to be.
And also, the other part that really inspired us to go with this story and really pursue it is that it's right for young singers. And work with so many different singers who have been blocked from opportunities because of the color of their skin, the way they look, and we wanted to find a piece that invites that diversity.
Gene, before we hear a little bit about the adaptations you need to make to the novel, I'd like to ask Sherry what your initial reaction was when word came around that Merola was going to commission a new piece. Was that an interesting challenge for you?
Well, it will be. I'm used to casting things, but it means that I will have to be very assiduous to know what Jake has in mind, vis-a-vis weight of the instrument, that sort of thing. But trust me, if I can cast a Don Giovanni or a Cosi, I can cast this. I mean, there are wonderful young American singers out there and from other countries as well, as you've heard. We have a great pool of young artists to draw from, so I don't worry about that at all, And I think what will be interesting for the kids, because as we know, the whirlwind around a world premiere is pretty intense, can get very intense, and so it will be an experience for them to see how they navigate the demands of this kind of spotlight on them. So I think, it's a wonderful challenge for us all the way around.
Now, if I recall, this is technically the first commission for Merola, but it's not the first world premiere. Is that correct?
No, my friend Tom Passachieri had an opera that he had written and was looking for a place to premiere it. And so I said, well, let me look at it. And of course, it was really fun, and it worked out great. And I said, well, Mr. Meacham, we did that with the Adler Fellows, so that
was back in the day when we had something called the
Spring.
Center Showcase. Yeah. But yes, Kurt Meacham's Tartuffe.
But I I'm not sure about other premieres in Merola.
The repository use was Hotel Eden?
Yes, Hotel Casablanca.
Casablanca.
Yeah, Hotel Casablanca.
So, branding piece is not necessarily a negative thing as far as the Merola ego. You find that's an interesting thing for them to tackle.
Well, and what's nice for them is that if I don't know how your publisher deals with it, but usually a book will have the initial performance of the opera, and so it's sort of cool for them that their names may appear in print next to the Jake's, And so for them, I think it would be terribly exciting. But for me, casting it is just how I would cast anything. I just go about casting it.
We knew that this was going to be a challenge for us too, because we're used to knowing who we're writing for.
Yeah.
That's a big part of creating new operas, knowing who you're writing for. So when we sent the scenario in, we also sent our dream professional cast list so that everyone could see, reference what kind of personality, voice type, presence we were thinking of for different roles.
I think it would be very exciting for a young singer to not have this huge legacy of performances, and to know that you're the first person to create this. I'm sure many of these singers will, when they get cast in Don Giovanni or something, or any of these roles, will run out and nowadays get the DVDs and the recordings and listen to these various ways. But it's, in the end, what you want to do, and I think singers are being trained to do, is to have their own opinions, have to work from the text and from the music, and to find out who they are in the character. And I think that applies to the standard web, certainly, as well as new web. So I think it's a great experience, which hopefully that they can bring to when they're doing standard web. So when you're doing Don Giovanni, it'd be wonderful to say, I don't know, it's never been done before. I'm going to do it as based on the material that's right in front of me.
And I want to also add that we are not writing down to young singers.
Right.
We are writing a full-blown opera that could be done at a professional company anytime. That's what we do. And it's just that these singers they're the best in the world, so we can write at that level. And that's why it's exciting to write for the Merola Program. These are very exciting, fresh, young talents that are eager to make their mark on the world. They are hungry for stories all over the country, and I meet a lot of these young singers, and I know about that hunger, and I find it terribly inspiring. So to find a story that is right in line with that, someone who is eager to find that flame and is willing to occupy another person's body to find that flame because they don't feel it themselves, I think that is a tremendously inspiring, interesting journey.
Gene, can we get back to Julian Green for a second? What later was he?
Well, his dates were 1900 to 1997, 1998, and he was French. He's American in that his parents were from the States, they were from the South. But he was born and raised in Paris. And he lived basically his entire life in Paris, except for two moments. In the 20s, his uncle, who was still in the States, invited him to come over, and Julian went to the University of Virginia for 3 years. And they went back to Paris, and then during the war, during the Second World War, he came back to the States, and he taught at Goucher College in Maryland. And then he went back, as soon as the war was over, he went back to Paris. It was a wonderful, he was a novelist, a major sort of French intellectual. But he was friends with Sartre, and it's a long little funny story as we were considering doing this opera, this story. My wife and I were in Paris about 2 years ago, and my friend Gene Alexander, I was at his apartment, and he asked what we were working on. I said, well, we're thinking seriously about doing this opera based on I think, relatively obscure novel, if I'm remember, Julian Green. Because Julian Green was my grandfather's best friend. And it turns out that David, who was a wonderful, major engineer actually in Paris, his grandfather, Julian Green, and Sartre were very, very close. And he brought me over to the bookshelf, and there were all the Julian Green books, all inscribed to his grandfather. So it was wonderful. struggled with in his own personal identity. I think there was sexual questions that he confronted and guilt about it and so forth as he lived his life. So he, and the other thing to mention, obviously, he wrote wonderful, wonderful memoirs throughout his life, and they were all published. And in addition to reading this book many, many, many times, I read his, not all of it, because there's so much, but I read lots and lots about him, about his life, and it was just a very interesting undertaking for me.
He's also part of that whole group of, like Poulenc, who struggled all his life with his own identity and the Catholicism that he grew up embracing and rejecting, and Graham Greene, for that matter, too. This struggle was central to a lot of Julia Green's work. Gene has this way of, when we pick a writer or a subject, of finding a personal connection to it. It happened when we wrote a set of songs about Camille Claudel, too. All of a sudden, he found out his wife's boss's mother
Was Camille Claudel's niece. So I went over to the house at her apartment in New York City, and the Petit Châteauneuf, the sculptures in the living room. And then she opened up all of these books of photographs and showed me Paul Claudel, who actually was the person who had Camille Institutional Act, who was her grandfather. And
it makes these stories and these people so real for us.
Yeah.
It feels like a real thread. And that is also very important in terms of writing for Merola. This sense of legacy and passing something on. I look at that portrait of Gaetano Merola back there, and it just makes me want to cry, because you think of what he ignited in the city and the legacy that we still celebrate today from him. And then you look at the singers that have gone through. I mean, when Gene Kellogg asked me to write a statement about why this piece is important in terms of writing something for Merola, she said, and could you name a couple of the Merolini I've worked with? And after I got to about 50 names at Merolini that I've either worked with professionally in the world or have been in my productions, I was really overcome with emotion, because the sense of legacy and what this program has done for the opera world. The opera world, which at every moment of its existence is precarious. But you can do opera a lot of ways, but you can't do it without great singers. You can do it with no instruments or a few instruments. You can do it in a big house, in a small house. But you have to have great singing actors. And that legacy from Merola through all the general directors up to now, with Matthew Schilbach, and with all the singers that we've seen, is something that I find very moving. And it's a great honor to be here and working on a story that actually explores that sense of legacy and belonging and place in the world.
I feel the same way. And when Jake showed me the list, I said, I worked with 30 or 40 and some of them have become close friends over the years. But the thing that distinguishes them, of course, is their talent. There's been a lot of jewels that have been threaded through the legacy of the Merola Program, and we've been fortunate enough to work with them, and not to work with them in this intimate way and with all of you is really a thrill. And I also think it's fair to say, as one gets older, and that's certainly happening to me, this notion of working with young folks. I did some residencies recently at various conservatories, and it was so gratifying and exciting for me. And then, of course, to come here where there are the best of young folks in the world, and to try to this handshake between the creator and the performer, and to get it started early in their careers, I think is a great thing. And I think, I'm just going to what I said before, but these great performers, I think of Joyce and Susie, Joyce Dinado and Susie, all these other wonderful folks, when they do something, it's as if, even if it's standard web, when Joyce does Cinderella, it was, when she was doing it, it was as if she was creating. And that's that's the spirit which will be infused in all of the singers here, and then as the original one.
Let's talk about the story and the ways you guys have sort of adapted it. As I recall, it's been a year or more back when I read that. It's really two sections. There's a kind of Faustian adventures at first, when our character Fabian is inhabiting various other people's bodies, and none of us did you sort of adapt all this to make it into a sort of whole?
Well, first and foremost, like any story that we do, whether it's Moby Dick or like when I did Dead Man Walking, you learn the material, you internalize the material, you respect, absorb everything you can about the material, and then you forget the material. Put it aside and do something, and the best way to honor the source is to do something fresh and original that is right for the opera stage. And that means you can't put a novel on the opera stage. You can't put a movie on the opera stage. You have to create something that is its own entity, that honors the source, but does something fresh for a vision.
So with that in mind, I mean, this story, that's always true. Jake just said it's always the process. It's been the process for all of our work. That being said, certain novels, certain sources, they line up in a way that, even though they need to be reinterpreted and reimagined, they line up in a way that is inherently sort of theatrical. This story provided, we have this wonderful central idea that he provides, but there were some central challenges that we need to address. Yes.
A disillusioned young man who wishes he could be anyone else is suddenly visited by a shadowy, devilish, Mephistopheles kind of character, and given a secret phrase that he can whisper to another person, and his soul will move entirely into their body, and he will live their life. His own body collapses. In the book, he does this over and over again, and he starts committing crimes. He makes wrong turns. The shadowy character is following him all the way along. This is the shadowy character's experiment to watch what he will do and where it will go, and he guides him here and there. And in the end, he decides he's not happier than he was at the beginning, so he traces his way back to his original body, and it's dying. And so the existential question is, are you going to live forever as someone else or die as yourself? And that's where we started with this. So that's the conceit. That is not exactly how it's told, but that's the conceit of the story, and that's what inspired.
Right. So the initial challenge was to have, as this character is being threaded through 6 different people, every person's life that he inhabits has his or her own panoply of connections, and there's the limits between those number of characters and also the complexity of the story. In other words, we can't have 6 new characters for every chapter of the story. And so how to create a stable set of characters through which this journey could be threaded was my huge challenge. And Jake and I, of course, I said it's my challenge, but it's our challenge, because I'm coming up with ideas and always bouncing them back and forth with Jake, and we're going through it. So that was the question. And then the big question is, if you're going to, if you be given this ability to live forever by weaving yourself through all these other lives, what would make you give that up? And that became the question to which we've created this story. And so the story is very, the spirit of it is very much the same as the Julie Green. It also sort of begins, albeit staged very differently, in the same sort of place emotionally that the Julie Green novel begins, and it ends where the Julie Green novel ends. How we tell the story of this transformative journey is different. But that was the big challenge, because we have all the other characters are placed all the way through the story, and so that was one of the big challenges.
So I'm dying to ask this. The Mephistopheles character, who was called Rita in the novel, you made that into a woman.
Yes.
Well,
I think the first thing is it's a musical consideration. I think Jake, vocal consideration, and for contrast. I also was excited about it in terms of the character, because since the devil has been portrayed as a bass baritone, historically, again, we're talking about this legacy of character. All of a sudden, you have a soprano, a beautiful soprano playing the devil. It breaks away from any cliche. There's a tabula rasa that we are presented with exciting way of sort of reinterpreting the story, but first and foremost, it was a local decision.
But obviously, we go back and forth a lot about what inspires us, because part of the job of a libretto, in addition to structure and dramatic flow, is it has to inspire music. And the libretto really isn't ready, even for me to start with, until I feel inspired, which is why we work together so much, so that I can say, oh, I love that idea. So when we decided that Rito Mar was going to be Rito Mara, and it was going to be this fabulously beautiful woman, seductive, gorgeous, and I thought, I'd love to write like an aria, like the Queen of the Night for a character. Would that be cool? A contemporary version of that. And that, right? You can feel that little shiver. Those kind of shivers are, that means yes. And so every time we're going through and we each get a shiver, we can both feel it, but I also just go, I like this idea. This is good.
Right. And then the idea that this woman can become different characters through the journey. She's with the magic of being the devil. She can assume all these other parts, but she has these local assets that are just.
And then as we went through too, figuring out how to tell the story, Gene came up with some wonderful inventions, and I don't want to over-explain it because I don't want to completely take away the surprise with us. It's going to change as we write it. It always does. And we'll find things about these characters as he writes and I create music, and we go back and forth continually.
You have this musical challenge, Jake.
Yeah.
Letting the audience know what has happened. The Figure is now living in someone else's body.
What a wonderful challenge.
Tell us that.
Yeah, absolutely. But we can do that with motifs, and a tune. If I sing, like Gene said yesterday, if I sing Frere Jacques and all of a sudden I fall silent, and he starts singing Frere Jacques, and he falls silent, and she starts singing Frere Jacques, and we can tell you through motifs and tunes where the soul is moving. But we have other devices too.
Good lighting, for one. Good lighting.
Yeah, good lighting. Well, and a great director and good actors. And the thing too is, this is what's exciting. This has elements not only of Faust, but of Jekyll and Hyde, and several other classic, novels and devices that have been done through time that we found very inspiring too. And it's a way of embracing all of those things and creating something new and contemporary and vital.
And it becomes an unexpected love story as well. Which is something that opera does very well.
If I may ask, are you going to keep it in the period when the novel was written, or are we going to contemporize the story slightly?
It's contemporary because you guys don't have the scenario that we
There's
use. So it starts with a guy with the electronic house life, a guy being brought to life. So there's an element of Frankenstein too. Someone being brought to life. Zap. That's how it starts, with this electronic zap, and someone lurching to life and gasping in an ambulance.
Right.
And then being told that, the first question is, what do you remember? That gives me a shiver too. That the first question of the opera is, what do you remember? And then we go from there. And so it is contemporary right away. But it has elements of all these classic stories.
I think both Jake and I want this to feel like it's a fable. So it will be set in a modern time, but I will have a specific place in mind as I'm writing it, but I'm sure the director will be able to reinterpret. I need to know specifically what I'm envisioning as I'm writing it, but that doesn't mean that it can't be reinterpreted or interpreted for the first time in this case. But we do want to set it, one of the things for these young singers, we want to set it in their world. I think that's the idea, is to set it in their world.
Before we give members of the press a chance to ask you guys things, one last question. You work together a lot now on a variety of projects. I'm curious if your working relationship has evolved. What sort of transformations has that relationship undergone?
I think the reason why, when we first started working together, there was this simpatico, both personally and also professionally. We just felt that our goals were very similar. We were both, by nature, storytellers. That's the thing that really sort of is central to our sort of artistic journey. And I think anything is just that the roots have grown deeper, and there's we always challenge each other. We've always done that. We challenge each other with complete ease as we run through the process. I mean, Jake, there's many drafts I'm going through, and as Jake said, it's not an opera until we all know this. It's not an opera until there's music, and I always say it doesn't matter if this is sort of platonic conception of this perfect scene. If it doesn't inspire music, it doesn't work. And so that's part of the goal. But I think that one of the things that is essential to our working relationship and essential to this project is that each time out we want to do something that's different. And I really feel that this piece, I'm very excited about this piece because I've never written anything like this. And I would imagine the music will be different. The text will be different. There's a kind of poetry into this story because it's available, because it's not so linked into sort of the dialogue of everyday life. That I'm really welcoming. If anything, it's more remotely Dick-like than anything else that we've done in terms of the way we've structured and hopefully the poetry of the piece. And my expectation is that the music will also be a departure.
Let's say, first and foremost, we're both theater guys. So everything that we think of, first and foremost, has like a look, has like a sound, has like a word on the stage. That's our story, right? That's the story. And it's all about exploring the emotional world of it. And so we're always on the same page in that regard. But what's great about working with Gene is we don't have to tap down, dance on ice. You know, it's like, well, you know, I love you. I love your work. He can tell by looking at it if I don't like something.
So I just,
Or he'll say, you know, Jake, I think you can do better. And it's not from any malice. It's because we both believe in the work, and that's what you need to do this kind of thing. You're giving any opera project, you're giving 3 or 4 years of your own life. So you know it's all about the people that you work with, and it's the people that you want to be with in the room. And I like being in the room with Gene, and we work really well together. And it's very exciting to take on another adventure. The past 2.5 years of my career, I wrote, it's insane. I wrote 3 operas, 4 song cycles, 2 choral works, orchestrations, residencies, recitals. By the time It's a Wonderful Life opened on December 2nd, I was so completely exhausted and drained. And even before that, I was asked to write a song for a friend's, retirement. And I sat down and I looked at this poem that inspired me, and I went, I can't even write a song. And so I've had literally like 4 or 5 months of not writing music now, and I am so excited to see what happens next. And I do feel like I felt when we took on Moby Dick, that was a real transition for me as a composer musically. I know it was for you as an artist as well. And this feels like a real fresh frontier, very exciting. And to do it here at home and for Merola and with all these people that I want to be in the room with, it's really, really exciting.
All right, well, there's a question out there that we can throw at these guys. Must be some burning inquiry. Yes. Go ahead, Josh.
Oh, well, sorry. Jake, I feel you glossed over a little quickly the issue of writing a piece for singers that you don't know who they're going to be. I assume you've never done this before.
Correct. When we started writing Dead Man Walking, we didn't know who Sister Helen was going to be. We were thinking about it. He said to me, I've written a lot of plays for Laurence Olivier that he never did. Why not set the bar? So he said, who's a singer from the past? I said, that's a voice that I really love. That would be like in her heyday. I could imagine her doing Sister Helen. And all of a sudden, he went, okay, that I get. And so he could start writing. So, and then we found Susan Graham. Okay, and before Susan, we had gone through several others, but then we found it. So, as I said, we gave them a fantasy cast of lots of different singers that we know really, really well who could do these different roles, or we could imagine doing these different roles. And so that's what we will use to write these roles for now, is we'll have a specific personality. But the thing is, You write for the role, even though you imagine who you're dressing on it. But you write for the role because then if you write it really well, many people can inhabit it, you know? And so that's the idea, is we'll have someone in mind for clarity and specificity. But when we're specific and clear in our minds, then it can be very broad to other people. I tell this to young singers all the time too. You have to have a movie in your head. It doesn't have to be the movie in everyone else's head. But if you're specific and clear, then it becomes broad and available to a lot of people. If it's just all gray and broad, then it's specific to nobody. So we will make it specific to us, even though you will not know who we're actually writing for.
I think it's always been true that most of the Queen of the Night was sister-in-law. They do really well, but a lot of other women sometimes.
They think through history, especially real theater composers. They want to know who they're writing for. You know, it makes a huge difference.
Yes, go ahead.
I have two questions.
Oh, all right.
Hold on a second. Oh, sorry. What is the origin of the name Britta Mara? It's kind of unusual. The second question is, have you written the music to the magic phrase yet? Have you tried it out?
I have not written the music to Magic Phrase yet, no, and I will try it out. And Britta Mara was chosen because in the book, the doctor's name, or Mephistopheles' character, his name is Britta Mar.
So M-A-R-T.
Right, with a T at the end. And I started looking up names, and Britta and Mara is a name in Hindu mythology, a magical character. So Britta Mara sounded like a good way to go. And we both liked it.
Yeah, the names that we chose for all the characters are fable, would work in a fable.
Right.
They're either Old Testament names or mythologically based names. So we want names that felt, it's told in modern times, they work, and yet there's this echo of this otherworldliness and this mythological source.
And also the international sense that we have for play these different characters. But we have, Britta Mara, Fabian, to honor the original name in the book, but Diana is another name that works throughout history. So that's the idea.
Yes, go ahead.
Just a simple nuts and bolts question, and since the book's up there, I'm assuming we'll get a simple answer. When was it written? Because it seems to me that somebody who rubbed shoulders with the likes of Sarge would have been full of conversations going on about the mind-body problem. And it sounds to me like this really is about the mind.
It was written right after World War II.
Right after 47. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and it's been out of print since
A long time.
a very long time.
Maybe it'll come back next year. Anyone else? Yes.
Along the lines of the first question about writing to a specific voice, since this is aimed for a young artist program, are there any special considerations that have to be given either to the text or to the score for younger voices?
No, because these folks are young professionals. These are the best of the best, and we write for professionals. And there's no reason. Also, when you think about actors who are 24, 26, 28, they're already in the meat of their career. And I think there's nothing, you should not write down, we're not going to, we're going to write a piece that we hope will be done by these folks and other young artists, and then also professional collaboration.
It's always to raise the bar and also to do what's right for the story. I mean, we have to honor first and foremost the work and the story and the way it needs to be told. And writing down never works. And we don't have to do that with the Merola Program. We can write for the best young singers in the world, which means we can write for great young professionals.
I mean, Fiordiligi is one of the most difficult roles to sing. And if I can cast Fiordiligi, I can cast this.
All right, with that, I think we're out of time. Thank you all for coming, and thank you all for being here. Jake, Gene, and Scheer.